Yo, it's another beautiful day to learn something new. So we continue with our series ya Vitu Zinafunga Nyota Yako, and this is episode number 6. So what we're doing with this series is we're talking about the common blockages zenye zinafunga watu zenye nimenote in my interactions with people, so that we discuss each one of them ndio uone maybe where you fall and what you can do about it. So what I want us to talk about today is something I find very interesting. Now, this is because hii ni kitu watu hufanya without even noticing what they're doing, and they don't see anything wrong with it. So I'm talking about excuses. Excuses ni vitu watu hupeana without even knowing that they're making excuses, and even when you point it out to them, they don't see anything wrong with it. Excuses are very powerful because number one, it feels like you are right. And sometimes you even have evidence to justify it. And then it becomes so natural. It comes in the middle of a conversation, so you don't even realize it's an excuse. It just comes naturally. Na ukianza kuona excuses, that's why unajuanga huyo mtu is under proper bondage, and the spirit holding that person back haitaki kuachilia. Remember, I've told you, spirits are very territorial. Once spirits zimekushika hivi, hazitaki kukuachilia. Spiritual warfare is all about souls. So the moment you umeshika ka soul kamoja hivi, you have to hold on it with your dear life. So how do excuses work? Excuses zo hold back from taking action. And what we know by now is that ukitaka nyota yako iwork ama nyota yako ifunguke, you have to put in the work. So excuses are holding you back from doing the work. So if you don't do the work, you don't get the results. Na hivyo ndo excuse zina end up kufunga nyota yako. For example, let me give you an example. You come from a family yenye iko na poverty. There's a spirit of poverty that is roaming in that background. And umetafuta job, umepata job poa, ama maybe umeona mtu kwenye umepata job poa. But even when you get that money, the spirit in your family, the poverty spirit within that family lineage, has a way of taking back that money. Unapata pesa poa, but hii pesa unaitumanga yote nyumbani. Either unasomesha siblings wako, una take care of your mom, kuna projects una run nyumbani. And then somehow even the people wenye unatumia pesa hawana shukrani. Wala tulisomesha, wanakuja tena kukosea heshima, wakikuulizanga nani alikwambia ulipe. Ama mama yako ukimpatia pesa akishika hivi, mara ampelekea pasta, mara sijui amefanya nini, amepeana sijui ameitwa harambee wapi. So you find hiyo pesa yako ni kama unarusha kwa kashimo. Kuna watu wengine, na mmesikia stories mingi kama hizi, umeenda kuwork US, UK, outside the country, unatumanga pesa nyumbani mfanye projects, umwambia hii nunueni ng'ombe, hii tujenge, unatuma pesa mingi home. But ile siku utarudi, hakuna ng'ombe, hakuna nyumba, hakuna pesa. Zile pesa zote ulituma hazikufanya chenye ulikuwa umesema zifanye, na hata pesa zenye upati. So you find all the work that you did kwenye ulikuwa went to be wasted labor. That spirit of poverty swallowed it up. Na hii wacha kujifanya ni kama hatujui, it has created a lot of enmities within families. Nasikia watu wakisema stories za black tax, familia kama una pesa unaonekana sijui aje. So now you're in that situation, na tumeangalia tumeona kwa hii familia yenu there's a spirit of poverty, and for you to break out of that cycle you need to do ABCD. And maybe one of the things we need to do is that acha kupatia watu wenyu pesa sana, or limit the money that you're giving to them. And that is one of the things maybe you need to do. Okay, despite all the spiritual work we have to do, then now we have to start cutting other things, like stop giving the money, you are enabling this spirit, do this instead. But sasa wewe you're so attached to this family that unaanza kuangalia ni kama tunakuambia usipatie mama yako pesa, ni kama tunakuambia usaidie watu wenyu. So you start telling us, lakini unajua kwetu mimi ndio nategemewa, unajua nisipofanya hivyo, unajua venye walinisomesha na shida. Those are very valid reasons. But in this case, now they become excuses. Why? Because we are trying to fight over spirit, and that spirit has held your family in bondage. And now we are trying to break that cycle. For you to break that cycle, number one, you have to detach from these people. We're not saying don't help them. just don't help them in a way that drains you. But because you're so attached to this spirit, you're so much held in a deep bondage, unaona ni kama hawa watu wanakumislead. Unaanza kumake the excuses without even realizing that you're making excuses. And what excuses do, they reinforce that spirit within you. And sometimes excuses wanga zinakublock mpaka kusikiza ile kitu unaambiwa. You might be mwenye unasikiza na kupatia very good advice, but because of the excuses, the spirit behind those excuses kanataka kukublock so that you don't get any assistance from anyone. So they want to keep you tied, your perspective tied to your past life. Because kumbuka, excuses are mostly come from spirits that affect your past life. So we want to hold you in that environment. We want to hold you in that loop. So anybody who tries to tell you different, we have to make an excuse so that you cut them off or ukose kusikia chenye wanasema. And that's when unapatanga kuna mtu anaishingi kuomba advice. Na hata mkimuadvise haji, they go back to the same place zenye wametoka. Hata ukimpatia the best advice haji, they'll just make excuses and go back to the same hole they came from. And that is the power of excuses. Na nimeona hii na watu wengi sana. Kuna watu wengi sana unapata ungekuwa very far if you are not making the excuses. The excuses are very convincing. They are very correct. They sound justifiable, but the spirit behind those excuses ni roho ingine imekufunga and it does not want you to move. Na miaka 5, 10, 20 zinaweza pita ukiendelea tu kumeka excuses. And at the end of the day, by the time you realize that the excuses have really messed you too much, it's too late. Sometimes unapatia mtu mpaka solutions, unamwambia kuja tutafanya ABCD, but you need an X amount of money. And sometimes hata si pesa mingi, but mtu amesikia pesa, kale ka spirit kanamwambia pesa uko utagongwa, hakuna garantia, wewe mwambie utajipanga. Unaniambia utajipanga, unaenda mpaka wa leo hii 3, 4, 5 years later hujajipanga. And I usually see guys who tell me watajipanga. Wanga wanakuja, tunaongea, wanasema watajipanga, they go, they come back after 3 months wakifikiria nimesahau ama nilidelete messages zao, but I always keep my WhatsApp. Wanakuja wananiambia, hey, mimi naitwa fulani, niko na shida fulani. I'm like, yeah, last time we talked about this and I told you to do ABCD. Niambia, hey, but unajua sasa uko mbali, unajua sasa wacha nitakuja tuongee. Okay, they go back another 1 year and the same problem persists. I can tell you there's somebody we started talking in 2022. Nambaka as soon as last week, by the time I was shooting this video, this is 2025, as soon as last week, huyo mtu bado alikuja tena kwangu with the same problem tulikuwa tuna discuss 2022. So that person has never moved past that stage. Okay? Kuna wengine unamwambia kila kitu but anaona unajua si rahisi, unajua hizi vitu inahitaji uko prepared, unajua hizi vitu si za watu kama sisi. Like, you always make excuses. And these excuses sound very genuine, but at the end of the day, they end up causing you many problems. Remember, behind every thought, behind every action, there is a spirit. And the spirit behind your thoughts, the spirit behind your actions, haitaki you move because you are the vessel it's using. So the moment you move to something else, the moment you outgrow it, then it has lost. And in spiritual warfare, we know spirits are territorial. And because spirits are not physical things that we see, they influence us at a spiritual level without us seeing. They give you excuses. They give you justifications. And sometimes they'll even give you evidence, prove that whatever excuse you're making is true. But at the end of the day, they just don't want to let you go. So it's up to you to realize that my excuses are holding me in this situation. Angalia, what is the spirit behind that excuse? What environment did you pick that excuse from? And you cut ties with it so that you can be able to proceed. You can be able to focus your energy on finding the solution. Na kufanya hivyo, nyota yako itafunguka because you're somebody who has a very big future. Nyota yako is beyond just yourself. Okay? And if you don't know how to start, sometimes you want to do something, but you don't know where to start, or you want something that is easy, you want something that won't cost you money. That's why we created the 40 Days Wilderness Challenge. It goes for 650 bob. 40 days, every day tunakupatia challenge, and by day 40 tusha reset, tushatoa hizo excuses, tushajua nyota yako ni gani, tushakufundisha ways of growing spiritually and all those things. And you find in 1-2 months uko sawa. You're not making any excuses. You've now already taken action na vitu zako zinaanza kufunguka pole pole. So try and be very conscious about the things you say. Try pick out excuses kwa zile kwa zile vitu unaambiwa ufanye ama kwa zile vitu unafaa kufanya. Angalia what are some of the excuses that you're making in your life, and then chunguza hizo excuses zimetoka wapi, and try detach yourself from the spirits behind those excuses, because once the excuses go, action will kick in, and once actions kicks in, your life will change in ways hata wewe mwenyewe hautaamini ungefika ile level utafika. Remember, you cannot outgrow your level of spiritual knowledge, so you have to be very conscious about understanding the spirits that operate within you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.